Hey everybody, Alex here from Dream English, coming to you from the quarantine. Everybody has been affected by the coronavirus, so even for us, we're doing the classes online. So this is the little setup we have going on. So let's get straight to the point. Those of you guys that have been following us on social media, we let everybody know, we warned everybody that there won't be any PTE exams for at least a month. So even at the moment, depending on the city you're in, depending on the country, chances are you won't be able to find any exam dates for 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, maybe more, depending how long this goes on. But best case scenario, we got 30 days. So there's two ways to look at it. The first way is you can be upset. You can enjoy your life to the fullest. You're stuck maybe indoors. You have to work from home. You're stuck with, I don't know, some annoying family member in the house, wherever it may be. And the second way to look at it is as a glass half full. So me personally, I've been spending still 10 to 12 hours every day at the office, catching up, getting ahead. And this is what I advise for you guys as well. So I have a lot of students that came to me, they said, look, Alex, I'm working from home, or I'm quarantined, or I'm not working for the next couple of weeks. Give me a study plan. What are the things I can do from home? Right? So I want to make sure I'm passing my exam the moment this quarantine is over so I can book a date. I don't need to worry. I don't need to take stress. This is the best time you're ever going to get in isolation with peace and quiet to actually get ahead on your studies. So a lot of you guys are in the same situation, whether you're applying for school, whether you're applying for your PR, you won't get a better chance. So up to now, there's excuses with job, wife, husband, work, study, school, and so on. So now there's no more excuses. So let's get straight to the point. I'm going to give you a 30-day plan to pass your PTE exam. Now, this is assuming you've taken some classes or you have an idea how PTE works, or maybe you're one of our students. So I made a plan for a few of our students, and I recommend you follow the same thing, and you're going to find it really, really helpful, and we're going to get lots of 90s when this quarantine is over. So let's get straight to the point. So welcome to your 30-day quarantine study plan to pass your PTE exam. Let's go in sequence. Let's go the way your exam is going to be structured. Let's start with the speaking section. So this is the plan. It's pretty standard. Again, depending on your area of weakness, you might want to increase the number of questions in one particular section and maybe practice some of the other ones less. But the first thing is your read aloud. Okay, read aloud is really important. As you guys know, it's part of the speaking section, but it gives you a lot of marks in your reading. So even if you're a bookworm, you got really excellent vocabulary and grammar, it's very difficult to pass your reading section if you don't perform well in your read aloud. So my recommendation is to start with at least 20 per day. Again, they don't take very long. They only take maybe 15, 20, 25, 30 seconds maximum. So you're going to spend at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes per day on read aloud, especially if you find you're one of those people that stutters or you get a little bit nervous. I would even do way more. Just make it part of your routine. You're eating breakfast, read the newspaper as if it's your read aloud. You're brushing your teeth and you're reading a text message from your friend or some kind of meme or some kind of a joke. Pretend it's your read aloud and try to copy the same tone, the same intonation like you would do it in the exam. Now, repeat sentence, kind of a difficult one. The reason why, it's really hard to get 100% of those repeated in the exam. So to this day, there's more than 4,000 to 5,000 of them in the PTE database. And if you've given the exam, you see that regardless of how many you practice, you will always get a lot of them which are new. So the reason why I'm saying this is that don't expect to just try to do every single repeat sentence that you can find on YouTube and get them all repeated in the exam. That won't happen. What I'm saying is you should have your technique and you should just practice it to keep fresh. So whether you're doing the initials or whether you're closing your eyes and you're saying it from memory or whether you keep repeating it to yourself, whatever's your technique, but you need to really focus and keep it fresh. Keep practicing 25 per day because that's not something that we do naturally as humans. Next thing, describe image. You should know a format. You should have a format memorized, a template, just to help you maintain the fluency. It's something that I talked about a lot in previous videos. And if you know the format, you should just practice 5 per day. Don't give yourself bar graphs and line graphs. Try to challenge yourself a little bit. Try to do the difficult ones like the processes or the combinations or anything that you find is a little bit weird. And same thing for retail lecture, 3 to 5 per day, just so it stays fresh in your mind and so you remember the speed, you remember the flow, And I don't actually recommend taking notes every single time. You might just take notes for 2 or 3 audios and just repeat each one more than once. And the last one, answer short questions. Of course, there's a question bank. There's only a couple hundred of them. 70% of them are really simple, really easy. So I'd only recommend practicing the ones that you haven't done before, or anything that's difficult, any ones that are kind of weird and strange. So you just need to read it one time. It's going to take you half an hour. You won't need to touch it again. Let's move on to the writing section. Now, those of you guys that have given IELTS before, you're traumatized by writing. Those of you guys that have given PTE, this is actually the easy one. You only have 2 questions, your summarized written text and your essay. So anybody that's taken class with us, they have the strategy, they have the technique for summarized written text, and you don't need to practice hundreds of these. We do a few in class, we do some during the mock test, so you don't need to practice anything extra. Now the essay, some of you have difficulties with your typing speed or proofreading. So I'd recommend type one essay once every 2 days, time yourself, type it in just like a text file, make sure there's no autocorrect on, so this way you can actually spend 2-3 minutes to proofread. And some of the students that I get in the class can even finish the essay in under 10 minutes, and they have 10 minutes to just proofread, check their mistakes, make sure it's all perfect. So this is a piece of cake. Now on to the hard work. Here's the hard work. Hard work is usually the reading section. So unless you're somebody that reads a lot, or let's say you go home, you speak your native language, you don't practice English, you don't watch Netflix in English, reading is a little bit harder, particularly because they've been doubling the question bank almost every single year. So at the moment, there's roughly, or at least from what we have, there's about 300 reading fill in the blanks, which are the drag and drop. So I'd recommend finish those first, because when you look at it overall, and there's 1,000 fill in the blanks questions, it's really demotivating because you're doing them every day, you're not getting ahead. So I'd recommend practice 30 of these per day. Okay, there's only about 300, so what that means is in 10 days you will finish all of them, and you'll have a big sense of achievement that you already got a big task out of the way. So this way you'll go through every question in their database and you can focus on the other things. So try to spend only 1.5 to 2 minutes each. Try to do it a little bit quicker than what you would normally do in the exam. So this way, if the question is easy, you get it 100% correct, don't worry about it again. But if you made more than one mistake, you're getting only 2 out of 4 or maybe 3 out of 5, save the number of that question. You will be practicing that one again later. I have a student, and if he's watching this, he will know this. So a really nice person, comes every day to practice and asks me, Alex, what should I do? What should I do today? What should I practice today? So I give the same answer. I'm not your dad. I'm not a truck driver to push you with a truck to pass your exam. You guys should be motivated by yourself. So what I mean is, if you're just coming in and you're just doing right, wrong, right, wrong, right, wrong, you're going to do the work, but there won't be any improvement. You need to actually practice it like you want to understand what kind of mistakes you're making, like you actually want to fix your problems and you want to improve it. So don't just practice right, wrong, right, wrong. Oh, I got 2 correct, I got 3 correct. No, actually keep a tally, keep track of which ones you're getting right and wrong so you can improve it in the future. Now on to the harder part. Reading and writing fill in the blanks. So these are the ones with 4 options each blank. And as you guys know, they give you more marks because they contribute to your reading section, obviously, and to your writing section. And a lot of the vocabulary you will encounter is academic vocabulary. Very difficult words, specific words, words that you wouldn't typically use in your day-to-day conversation. And unfortunately, there's a lot of them. So we have collected roughly about 600. So I would recommend start with 10 per day, okay? But once you finish your reading fill in the blanks, you will be spending double the time on these. So you will increase it to 30 per day. So this way you will finish all the material at least one time within the 30-day time frame, and you'll have some time to actually fix and improve the other questions that you messed up, that you didn't do well in. And lastly, reorder paragraphs, everybody's most hated question in reading. The reason why it tests your logic more than it tests your English. I've had Irish students and Scottish students who struggle in this question, even though they're native speakers, And then I've had people who barely speak English, but who are very logical, and they could really easily find the sequence. So for these, I personally hate them. And if I see a question for the first time, I won't always get it 100% correct. So don't feel sorry. Don't feel stressed or depressed. You're going to practice 5 per day. Okay, you're actually going to try to solve them. And on top of that, you're going to look at an extra 5 questions per day. You're just going to read them and understand them. Meaning you're going to look at the answer already, whatever is the correct sequence, and you'll try to understand logically, okay, why does this pair and this pair go together? Why is this the conclusion? Okay, so this way you'll be able to finish all the material within the 30-day time frame, and you'll actually be able to not break your brain doing that. Because if you're trying to solve 10-15 of these every day, you're going to be mentally drained completely. And the last section. So listening section, as most of you guys know, has 2 of the most important questions, 2 questions we're going to focus on. The first one is summarize spoken text. So what we provide our students in the class is the key content for each summary. At the moment, there's about 110 to 120 summaries that come in the exam. So to our students, we provide all of the key points, all the cliff notes, all the keywords and the names from each one of those audios. And what we ask them to do is to go through all of them thoroughly one by one. You need to read them, you need to understand them, you need to print them, and you need to highlight any difficult word, like Amory Lovins, Harry Bergson, Mary Mellon, things like that. Difficult words, you need to know how to spell them. Because if you misspell them in the exam, you'll be losing content marks because the computer won't recognize that you used the right keyword, and you'll also be losing marks in your writing because you're misspelling important words. So it's a really important question. First, you need to go through all of the content of all the summaries, which won't take you long. Maybe it's going to take you an hour. And I want you to practice to highlight any words with difficult spelling. And the most important question, the single question that's going to make or break your exam. If you miss one, maybe you just pass. Chances are you won't. You won't get 79. If you miss 2 completely, you might get 7, maybe, but you definitely won't get 8, and sometimes you might not even get 7, depending on what kinds of mistakes you made in the other questions. And if you miss all 3 or 4, good luck. You might even struggle to get 50 in your listening or your writing section. So this is the most important question in the whole exam, and unfortunately it comes all the way at the end. So in order to perform well, in total there's about 600 unique sentences. I know there are some websites where you find 800 or 1000 or 750, but they have only 1 or 2 words which are different. So if I'm looking at a sentence that is 80% the same and only 20% different, there's about 600 to 650 unique sentences, right? They might change to the, or this lecture to those lectures, or the professor to that professor, but the changes are very small. So my recommendation is to do 50 per day, okay, and have a printout of all the write from dictation sentences that you're practicing. So anytime you make more than 2 mistakes, like misspelling a word or missing a comma or not capitalizing what you're supposed to capitalize, you're going to highlight that sentence, you're going to do it again later on. And same thing if you're missing or adding any word in the sentence that's extra, again, you're going to redo those at a later time. So out of 600 sentences, maybe 300 you'll do correct. The other 300 you'll practice again, and then you're going to narrow down to 100 and only 50, and you're going to have maybe 30 to 40 sentences that you will keep practicing till the day of your exam. So very quick video, very kind of a raw, unedited video, but I wanted to put it out to you guys as soon as possible so you can start practicing. And just as a reminder, if you haven't watched some of our live videos that we posted previously on YouTube, go and do that right now. And specifically, the video I recommend you watch is the top 4 questions in PTE that give you the most marks. So it's repeat sentence, it's your read aloud, it's your reading and writing fill in the blanks, and your write from dictation. Of course, in that video you'll find out I go into a lot more details explaining how does the marking work, why you need to practice that particular question, how do you need to practice it, what are the techniques, what are the strategies. But just to summarize, it's repeat sentence, which gives you the most marks in your whole exam in total. It's read alouds, which contributes to your speaking and your reading. It's your reading and writing fill in the blanks. Obviously self-explanatory, you get marks in reading and writing. and the last one, which is the king, write from dictation. So those are the 4 questions that you need to focus on in order to improve your score a lot in a short period of time. And just on a final note, so what I told to my students, you're practicing the material, fantastic. You're putting in a lot of hard work, excellent. You're going through all the questions, great. But the most important thing is every single week on Thursdays or Fridays, you will send me a message if you're my student, and I will set up a mock test for you, and then I'll check it and give you feedback. So for us, we have obviously our own portal, we have our own system. We created the software specifically for our students that other people can use as well. And if you guys are curious, I'll put the link below. It is available to the public as well. You can try it, and if you like it, hopefully it helps you in your exam. But here's the link. I'll put the link in the notes as well. But it's really important just because when you practice and you're alone and you're at home, it's hard to see whether you're actually improving or not. So you need to be able to assess yourself. You need to be able to make sure you're doing all the little things correct. And hopefully that helps you guys. As you can see, for us, the work doesn't stop. So we'll try to put up more videos over the next couple of weeks to help you study from home. And to all my students, I'll see you in our online class. And thank you for watching. Best of luck with your preparation. And hopefully see you with a 90 when this whole thing is over.